I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. The crash came when the cash came. Spend it for you get it like those rookies all on draft day. For the love like it's match game. Hit the ground running, really do it for my last name. They act different when the facts change. I'm not with the tip for tag games. In my own league, I don't chase game. In my own league, I don't hang with lanes. I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. Now how could that be? Talking about who can be talking about me. Feeling like stretch where I got all this reach. Feeling too blessed when I step on these beats. Now how could that be? I could beat the pressure, I could beat the 2-3. Jab, jab, hook, then I duck and I weave. It was never you, it was me versus me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't.
YouTube, what is going on? We are back. Anthony, Mike, whole new podcast here though, guys. We have changed it up. We are back though. We are now the Anger Management Podcast. Mike, how is it going?
It is going good, bud. Good. I've got indications where I'm located at. The spring is right around the corner. Some trees are blooming. Some bushes are blossoming. Temperatures all next week.
Yeah.
I'm excited, ready. Baseball's about to kick in. I mean, tournament doesn't get much better, folks.
Absolutely.
And brand new rebooted podcast. Are you kidding us? This is great. 2 bulls in the background. We are not about BS. We're just about straight stuff, so don't let the bulls through you.
Absolutely, guys. That's what we're here for. That's what we're going to talk to you guys about. We are back. A lot of stuff going on, guys, that's been happening with us, things like that. I've been out a little bit more with my kids, just doing a lot more things with the family, stuff like that. My son's been having to deal with a little bit of health issues and stuff, but we're back. We're getting ready to go. We're doing this new thing, calling ourselves Anger Management, because like Mike said, we're not putting up with nothing no more, folks. It is time for us to start putting it all out there for everybody. Let you guys know exactly how we feel about certain things. So today's podcast, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it right away, Mike, for sure. Huh? We're gonna get into a lot of this stuff. It's gonna be something new, fun, and exciting. We hope for you guys. So, Mike, are you ready to get into this right off the bat?
Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm always ready to go.
Let's do it.
24/7 sports. Does it get any better? It doesn't matter. Any time of the year, golf's around the corner. All these good things. Sports, you can never go wrong talking about sports, but not just is what we live for. We live to talk about. So we are excited. This could be, especially with the reboot.
For sure. So, Mike, there's a lot of stuff going on. Right now, mostly in basketball. Obviously, like you said, baseball's going to be starting up here soon. Football's kind of long gone. A lot of moves going on that we're not going to get much into today, guys. Football, we're going to kind of push off for a little bit. But we want to get into a lot of stuff. Obviously, now basketball is really going on. A lot of stuff that's been going on that we're going to talk about first is Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark. We have not got a chance to talk to them. Mike and I have talked about this a lot, that with off the stream, things like that. Just about how different these two are from the college level now to the WNBA, right? Their games are totally different all of a sudden, right? Angel Reese was the champion, the winner, showing off the ring, right? This and that, to Caitlyn, all up in her face. These two were supposed to be the face of the WNBA, right? Now all of a sudden, it's flip-flopped. Angel Reese cannot make a layup. Her fundamentals have gone south. It is awful to watch her play the game of basketball, if I'm being completely honest. And Caitlyn Clark has done nothing but just rise. Now, for me, Mike, I know we've talked a lot about this, and you're not a huge fan, I know, of Angel and her play right now. What do you think right now between these two? I know everybody talks about it. These two are supposed to be the change of the WNBA. I feel like Caitlyn is the change of the WNBA, but Angel is not. What do you feel?
I just think if you go back to last year, but that was the whole narrative, and I think the media pushed this, going all the way back to the to the LSU Iowa game in the tournament a few years back. Actually in the championship game, everybody thought obviously Caitlyn was the golden girl, and by the time they reached the championship game, everybody thought it was a done deal. LSU was going to lose. Obviously, with Kim there as a coach, and obviously Angel. I don't know if you'd call it an upset, but obviously they managed to win the championship. You got the whole Angel Reese with the John Cena type thing, can't see me, all this stuff. So flash forward, both girls going to the NBA at the same, or the WNBA at the same time. It's the rage to talk about these two. Which one is going to redefine the WNBA? Is it going to be Caitlyn? Is it going to be Angel? Are they both going to manage to do this? But I think if you look after the first season, I think it begins to show itself. It really does. And you made a good point. We were talking about this this past week, obviously away from any cameras. If you really look at where her game is at right now with Angel, and we'll go into this just a little bit more in a second, but I call it the degression, not progression with this girl. There's been a very substantial degression in her game, and there's reasons for this. But I think the problem with this is, and again, you made this point that when she was at LSU, there was a buffering that was going on. I don't think anybody was really fully aware of this. Probably no one outside the team itself. And nobody's going to say
the team was amazing. That LSU team was great. They beat that Iowa team by what? They beat them by like 20 in that game. And you're telling me that? I'm sorry, and I did say this. I told him, and I'll be honest. I said, this is either that ring, Angel needs to applaud her team, or Ken Mulkey was holding back on knowing a whole lot more than what we did. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's also. I mean, she didn't look at. This is my thing. She didn't look that bad in LSU, and when she first started, she's getting. It's like you said, she's getting worse. So, is it just the fact that she's not getting better? She's not. Okay. Is she not in the gym? Is she not working out? Is she not working on fundamentals? What is she doing to get worse?
Is she getting worse, or was she ever any good?
I thought she. I'm not gonna lie. I think looking at watching her at LSU, she was not this bad. She can't make a layup.
No. See, this is where I'm beginning to wonder how bad this girl actually is. I'm not saying she's awful, folks, but let's get real here. To have that type of production, even her production at LSU wasn't off the charts. She was a good basketball player. But how do you digress from that point 2 years ago, 3 years ago, to where you're at right now? Because, again, I go back to the fact that with the coach that they have with Mulkey, the teammates around her, how good is she really? Or was she ever really any good? I don't understand. Now, there's two sides to this. And Bud and I've talked about this too. So here she is, if you compare the two, but if you're looking at Angel right now, what has she primarily devoted her time to since she's came into the WNBA? It's not about practice. It's not about getting better. It's about, photo ops. It's about personal appearances. It's about commercials. I'm looking at videos of Caitlyn Clark, folks, in the gym. And I showed this to Anthony just a while back and his dad. In the gym, putting up 53, 54 straight shots from the arc. And I think she missed 3 of them. This is a girl dedicated. This is a woman dedicated. This is an athlete dedicated to improving her game because she wants to be great. I guarantee you, this year, her second season in the WNBA, Caitlyn Clark, unless she suffers an injury, her numbers across the board will improve.
I agree. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you on that for sure. Because here's a person that took that Indiana team. They were dead last, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the year before her coming in. Not only did she not just make the playoffs, she wasn't like an 8 seed. She put them as a 6 seed, and they were 20-20. Yep. They were a 500 ball club, dead last, and she made them. I watched this team. they said Aaliyah Boston was going to become a bust. That's what she kind of looked like it was going to. Caitlyn has now made her better. They look good together from our understanding. Watching all this, it's, you know. So this team can only go up from here. The sky didn't get any better with her, with Angel, and it's not going to get any better. I think they made a terrible decision on this, on what to do, but man, I don't know. It's tough. It's definitely tough.
You know, I both looked at this. A lot of people looked at this when, you know, last season when they first came into the league and they started playing this up. And here's Angel. She's getting the double doubles and she sets the record for double doubles. But I really didn't pay attention to this at first, but I started going back and you look at videos that people submit and all these other things, and you look at stats. But if you look at the videos, the evidence is there that. Now I'm not going to say that Angel stat pads every single game, but I'm starting to really truly believe that, because I'm sorry. No one at a professional level, I don't care if it's women's and obviously if it's men, if you can't succeed underneath the rim at all, basically, there's a problem. And that's a fundamental problem. And she literally stinks. And I'm sorry, the videotape doesn't lie. This isn't AI enhanced, this isn't CGI. This is a woman going out there and literally embarrassing herself when she's out there on the court. I mean, it is embarrassing to watch. And
not only that, is she gets into these 3-on-3 tournaments now too, right? She's in these 3v3s, and there's less people on the court for you to try to do more, and she still can't get it going. So, and here's the thing, I think, and I've told you this before, I'm not going to sit here and throw complete shade on her, because I think she has a talent. And her talent is rebounding, right? She can rebound the ball, that's for sure. The girl can box out, she can get the board. She needs to change her game, though. She's not a scorer, she's not a shooter. As much as she tries, she's not. There's nothing wrong with.
Why is she trying?
But there's nothing wrong with being a Dennis Rodman. What does Dennis Rodman do? How many rings does Rodman have, right? He didn't score.
He's rebounds and defense.
Which is what she can do. She can rebound and she can score. Do what you know how to do. You're not a scorer. But the problem is because she wants to be like Caitlyn. She thinks she deserves everything Caitlyn getting because she thinks you've heard her say it. She's not the only one that's changed the WNBA. Yeah, she is right now. Yeah, more than you.
She is.
That's for sure. Way more than you.
Yeah. And who's silent through all this? This is part of what Anthony and I talk about, you know, and we're not going to get into the whole GOAT thing, but what I am going to say about this is that, and Anthony had this, and I had this discussion just the other day, you know, when you hear LeBron talk about the GOAT, or you hear Michael, I'm sorry, I correct myself. Michael never talks about being the GOAT because greats don't need to. They allow their play on the court to justify how great they are. They don't need to talk about it. LeBron needs to talk about it. So there's a big, huge red flag as far as I'm concerned. Here you have Angel Reese. All she can talk about, especially going back to the beginning of last year, like Anthony just said, you know, yeah. Reese sitting there saying, yeah, Caitlyn's here, but so am I. I'm here too. You know, so I'm as much, you know, for the reasons of the success of this league as she is. No, you're not. You need to stop doing that. You're embarrassing yourself. Improve your play, get in the gym, stop going to runway shoots and, you know, premieres and all these other things. I told Bud a long time, just the other day, and I'm not going to kid around, folks. Right now, where Angel's at, her best future is OnlyFans. That's it. I'm going to just put that out there for you. I'm sorry, it sucks to say that, but let's get real here. She's, you know, that right now is her most productive output, is potentially being an OnlyFans model.
Not the OnlyFans. Not the OnlyFans.
Oh my goodness, but that's pretty sad.
I mean, I get it, but you're not, and you're right, because what is she showing that she's getting any better? She's not. She's getting worse, like you said. So that's exactly right. I agree. I mean, she's nowhere close to what Caitlyn's doing. Caitlyn's gonna get better. I think Caitlyn will be an MVP of the WNBA in the next few years. Yeah. I can see her pushing for the playoffs. I mean, I could easily see Caitlyn getting a ring within the next 4 to 5 years for sure with this team. If they can stick around this and that, it may be sooner. Who knows? But there's some good team. We're talking about just two people, but there are some other really great teams out there. You know, Las Vegas is falling down a little bit, but the Liberty, great last year, right? They took it all last year. They still got great players. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that just because she's faced the league, she's better than a lot of players. There's still tremendous talent out there at the WNBA, and there's way better teams and stuff. But she's going to the thing is Caitlyn's going to get Indiana better. She's going to work hard to get them better, where Angel is not going to get better or make her teammates any better because she's already shown that she can't and that she's not. So either way, all of this for me, Caitlyn's the better player. She's always been the better player. She just hasn't been on the better teams. That's just the issue.
Yeah. And as they go forward, like you said too, but I agree with that completely. I'm not even sure it extends out that far. I mean, do the Fever win a championship this year? No, unless things absolutely broke right. But can they advance past the first round? I bet you they do. If they're healthy, I bet you they do. And I fully believe that within not this season, but possibly next season, definitely by the season after, by her what would be her fourth season, she's probably looking at the potential to be a WNBA champion. And I think if everything plays out properly, she stays healthy, good, teammates around her, I could see Caitlyn easily winning it with 4 rings.
Absolutely. I totally agree for sure. Well,
and being the face of the league. She is that person to carry the league.
She can.
Moving forward.
She can.
She's their Jordan. She really is. And like you said, but there's great talent in the league right now. Really good talent.
I don't want to say Jordan yet. There's when you his
I should have said,
I get that, but possibly, but I don't want to give her that. I mean, to put yourself in that tier, that says a lot. We're gonna get into this though, guys. We're gonna get into because we're gonna move on to this next one here, which we're gonna talk about. I would like to say it's probably both our favorite player in the NBA right now, right, Mike? It's the Joker, right? Joker's probably our favorite player out of anybody in the NBA right now. But we're going to be honest, guys. Mike and I don't watch very much basketball anymore. It is hard to watch this game that's played right now. And the reason I'm saying that is lack of defense, too many threes. We don't see the heart of these players anymore like we used to. No commitment, no loyalty. We could go on about this, right? Except for this is one of those guys that is out of there, right? Jokic is one of those guys where he's playing this game at the highest level possible. We've never seen this from somebody at his position. The other night, 30-20-20, Mike. Never been done before. It has never been done by anybody. 30-20-20. What more can you say about this guy? How does he? There's no way you're gonna come and tell me that this guy's gonna get 30-20-20 and he's not gonna win his 4th MVP, right?
You know what's crazy is when you sent me that text that he had accomplished that. As funny as it sounds, and I fully acknowledge how great the accomplishment is. It really was not as amazing to me as it probably should have been because he does this all the time. Not to that degree with the rebounds and the assists, but he's the king of the triple double. He just hasn't, he's the king of this. He does this night in and night out. You don't even if you look at the stat sheet the day after Nuggets game and you see a triple double, I mean, do you even give him a second thought? Joker got another triple double. Okay, well, yeah, he does that every night. But when you have a situation like this, where it's just so off the charts, the impact isn't quite what it should be because this guy is doing this every night.
Well, here, let's put this in perspective here, real quick, okay? Right now, Jokic is, and everybody sees him as obviously a rebounder. He can assist the ball right and score. Right now, he's 28.9. He's 3rd in scoring. Only people above him, SGA and Giannis. He's 2nd in assists, 10.6 a game. Only person above him, Trae Young. 3rd in rebounds, 12.9, with Sabonis and Cat above him. But he is tied in 2nd for steals with 1.8 steals a game. So if you're telling me he doesn't play defense, this guy, you're trying to tell me, he only offense, and that's why he's not going to win. He almost has 2 steals. Only person above him at number 1 is Dyson Daniels from Atlanta, who averages 3 steals again. That's really good for steal. But so SGA, Chris Dunn, and Tyrese Maxey are all tied with Jokic at 1.8. These are all guards, point guards. Every single one of our point guards averaging 1.8 steal or a little higher with Dyson, and you got Jokic sitting here. Tell me this guy is not MVP. I don't get this. I don't understand. And not only this, he already should have 4. But we know that this starts to kick in on certain players, right? Everybody knows Jordan should have had more. Kobe should have had more. Even LeBron maybe should have more, right? Shaq and Kobe with 1 each. It doesn't make sense. Steve Nash sitting there with 2, right? But you got to think about this, right? The only people that have 4 or more MVPs, if he does get it this year, he's going to be in with an elite group, which is Kareem, Russell, Jordan, Wilt, and LeBron.
Yeah.
But not only that, if he does get this MVP, SGA is playing with the top tier team right now. That Oklahoma City team is very, very good. They're basically on pace right now to win the whole thing. It's going to them in Cleveland. Boston's obviously there too. But you think about what Jokic is doing. He is doing this. He's on pace for 50-plus games. I think right now it's 53 that they're on pace to win. So 50-plus. But he doesn't even have a top 70 player in the league right now, including Murray. Murray's not even top 70 if you're statistically looking at everything.
That's what I was about to say.
So you tell me who is actually really the best MVP and why. Here's another question. Why do we do this, Mike? Why do we do this with the MVPs where just because we don't want to overthrow? Why maybe you can explain. Why couldn't Jordan have 10 MVPs? Why couldn't LeBron have 7? Why can't Wilt have 11? Why can't they do that?
Because the blowback on that, and I don't agree with it, but it's a reality. I've read articles about it. I've seen people talk about it. I know you probably have too. The blowback to that is that you reach a point where, regardless of the person's greatness, they just don't feel like it's fair, it's justified to award them, this award after this award after this award after this award. It just becomes mundane, repetitive, and you just need to change it up. It's not fair. The whole thing, when Embiid received that MVP award, he had a great season. I give him that. He still wasn't the MVP, but here you had Jokic. But there's also, I think there's a lot of politicalness attached to that too. So obviously Embiid won out, but we've seen what's happened since then. Look where Embiid's at now. The guy's pretty much just an effing joke at the center position. He's actually an effing joke right now as a basketball player because of all the things that he either manifests through his imagination or he milks through whatever minor injuries he has. And I'm saying that the injury he has now isn't severe, but this is a person whose personal history regarding injuries is a guy who really doesn't try to push himself to get through anything, but that's another story. But back to Joker, I agree with you, Bud. It doesn't matter how many times he's won it. If the numbers are there and the situations basically dictate that you should look to this guy as the MVP, then you give it to him. I love what AG is doing out there, or SG is doing out there in Oklahoma City. I think he's got 4 or 5 50s this year. I mean, it's fantastic.
He's a great ball player. I'm with you. SGA is tremendous. I love SGA. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge SGA fan. I think he's terrific. But when you look at MVP, it's always been, and we've had this discussion, not just in basketball. I've even brought it up in football, other instances too. But when you're talking about not having a top tier player and you're still a top 5 seed, they're number 3 right now behind Oklahoma City and LA, right? Could even, yes, they could pass up the Lakers if need be. Obviously, we're going to get into the Lakers stuff here in a few with this, but somebody that's doesn't have a top 70 player, 3rd in the league right now in the Western Conference, and averaging basically a triple-double. He's averaging a triple-double right now. Now, can he finish that season? I don't see why he couldn't.
Basically did that
I don't
last
see
year.
why he couldn't. So you're telling me that if he doesn't get this, you're going to SGA, you're basically only giving it to him off of record, right? That's it.
Pretty much. Well, again, no, but like I said, you get that blowback because people. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's got 3. Well, we can't necessarily give him 4. He almost had 5. We gotta look somewhere else. See, that's what I'm saying. There's a blowback attached to that. That well, he's great, but let's not just blow this out of proportion here. Let's look at SG here and say, well, look at his season. Let's give it to him. I agree with you, but I don't care what it is. If the numbers are there and everything around your personal situation where you have to buffer your teammates, you have to go out every night. You have to play 46 to 48 minutes, 44 or 48 minutes. You are the reason right now that your team is pushing for the 2 seed. You are the reason that you guys have any remote chance at all of winning on a night-to-night basis. And we can still go back to the point differential when he's off the court. Look at the point production when he's off the court. It's still there, folks. It's still there. You're getting better production from the guys around him right now. Murray's playing pretty well. You've got other Porter's doing okay. Gordon's actually having a very good season. Very good season. But the bottom line here is when that guy is off the court, that team struggles. And come playoff team or time, he's going to have to play 46 to 48 minutes, 47 to 48 minutes, because I guarantee you these guys are going to have those moments where they don't want to step up and for whatever reason can't find the basket. They don't want to assert themselves because they fall back on that. If Joker's not out here, we don't know what to do. And if he is out here, he's the guy we got to go through. There's really truly no individuality on this team. I mean, it all centers around him, which it should, but sometimes it's almost like he's a crutch. And all these other guys have become, they just mentally check out. Joker will bail us out. So you got it. They just have to make sure they continue to work for it as they're doing right now.
I'm with you, and I want to kind of throw you mentioned Murray, Porter, Gordon, but another guy that's kind of been stepping up. There's a few guys that are kind of some role players that I think are going to make a big impact on these, and that's Christian Brown and Strother. I think those two have been. Strother's a great shooter. Brown has been doing everything. Ever since he's been kind of put into that starting role, kind of coming in. I've always said losing KCP and Bruce Brown in this. On this team was huge after the championship, right? Both of them just have. I mean, Brown has been kind of traveling around now. I think he's probably a little upset about the fact that he left us too. But for me, I think Brown is what Christian Brown is one of those guys that can really make an impact on this team. Yeah. I'd love to see him step up. There are guys that are doing really well, but it's just we're not there yet. I don't see that the Nuggets are better than Oklahoma City yet. They're still missing something there. But the thing is Jokic is kind of turning into one of those players too, right? Where he can do everything, and he can actually run you to the finals. That's the thing about him. He can.
How many athletes across the 4 major sports, okay? And you could say it was soccer too, but we're not going to go there. But regardless, how many players across the 4 major sports are there individuals that you literally can put on any other team? And let's say at that position, the center position. Now, we'll exclude a couple of teams because they have some pretty good ball players. But you name any team really that if you put Joker on that team, that they don't automatically. If you put him on the Sixers right now, you think they don't become title contenders?
Oh, 100%.
It's a little bit late because 100%. Of the record.
I
he's
agree.
He's that guy. You put him on any basketball team, and they automatically become title contenders. They do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm trying to think of a team that's really bad, but even like you said, you put them on the Sixers. I mean, the Sixers have the Sixers. But here's the problem for you, and it's funny you say that, right? And you pick the Sixers, but don't the Sixers supposedly already have an all-star?
But that's my point.
Super mega star center
and Embiid and George, and where are you at?
Nowhere to be found.
Where are you at? You've got guys that don't.
Paul's been playing better though. I'll give him that. Paul George has been playing better for the team.
He's played better, but this guy's had his history is injuries. We both know this.
I'm a PG fan. I can't knock PG. I'm a PG fan. I can't knock him. That's my guy. I can't knock PG. I don't care.
He checked out.
Here's the reason why.
He said, "I'm not about championships."
I'm okay. I'm gonna let PG do what he wants to. Here's the thing.
I can't with that statement.
I get it, but here's the thing. People are giving PG a lot. They're giving him a lot of crap now, but we have to understand PG's on his way out, right? It's time to retire. He's got about a few more years, if that. But either,
he's been checked out since Oklahoma City.
But here's the thing.
He's been checked out since Indiana.
But here's the thing. If I'm PG, this is the reason why I'm kind of checked. Why is everybody forgetting about what I did in Indiana? I get it. They playoff P, and they say, hey, he's losing in the first round. But do we not forget what he was in Indiana? How good he was in Indiana. He locked down LeBron in there at one point. But it doesn't. But I'm saying, why do we forget on certain players because they stopped winning what they once were?
I feel you.
You know what I mean? It's like the Grant Hill thing. Why do we forget how good we talk about? I mean, let's get into this a little bit. Why is Scottie Pippen better than Grant Hill? Because he's got 6 rings?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if I'm gonna go against this, I'm taking Grant Hill over Scottie. If I'm not mistaken, in the decade of the '90s, just the '90s itself, I think Grant had more points, rebounds, and assists than him. Throughout the '90s,
you and I both know what killed Grant.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But why do we sit here? And that's fine. Injuries happen, is what it is.
Yeah.
But we knock him like that's his fault. You know what I mean? And sometimes some of these guys, they're just brittle, right? There are certain guys that are like that. You get like a
Davis is brittle.
You get that, right? Zion doesn't play very. Embiid's not playing now. Now there's some guys like you just a bad mishap like a Derrick Rose, right? Derrick Rose was on his way to being the next face of the league, possibly too, which nobody wants to take that role now, but. Derrick Rose was on his way, and what did he do? The same move he's done his whole entire career. Did the one move, missed the step, ACL, right? And he never came back to that same guy. Now, he dropped 50 in Minnesota or whatever, but he wasn't that guy to do that every single night. He wasn't that Derrick Rose from Chicago. But we forgot about him. Until he came to Minnesota, put up 50, he used to be that guy. Now you hear all this stuff about what he used to be. But why did we forget who Derrick Rose was? We knew who he was. Had he not got that injury, it wouldn't have been an issue, right?
Yeah.
But we keep knocking these guys because they're injured or they got hurt and this and that. There's some guys, yes, you can knock. I'm going to knock in Embiid for his injuries, for what he's doing, for Zion for not playing this way, because they haven't shown me anything. They haven't won nothing. They haven't put up the numbers to show. Embiid, when he first started, yes, Embiid, amazing. I thought he was on his way. I thought Embiid and Jokic was going to be kind of like these, maybe we could have seen. The big man is starting to come back, is what I'm saying, where you could be the Ewings against the Olajuwons, against the Shaqs, against the David Robinsons. I thought maybe that's where we see just a little bit more athletic guys that can score from the outside more, where you'd see Jokic, Chet Holmgren now, Embiid, right? These guys are going to, I thought they would change the way. But no, Jokic is by far right now, far and away, the best center in the league, probably the best player in the league right now. It's not even close. And if somebody wants to argue with me, fine. But right now, 30, 20, and 20 is what he did. And the other thing that makes it crazy about what he's doing, he makes it look effortless. Absolutely effortless. It looks like he's not doing anything out there on the court.
Yeah, and if you look at him from a physical standpoint, he's not the epitome of physical fitness. I mean, this guy he's not. If you look at his build, you would never suspect it. If you ever watch a video of this guy running, I mean, good grief. I think I may have seen turtles that could run the court faster than this guy.
Here's a quick question. Give me, just off the top of your head, if you can, who's your top 5 players in the NBA right now?
Oh, wow, bud, right now. Obviously, SGA I think is really good. Obviously, Joker is there. Remind me the kid up in Minnesota.
Edwards?
Yeah, Edwards is right there.
Ant-Man.
Yeah, obviously. Okay. The kid in San Antonio, I'm blanking on these guys' names right now.
Unfortunately, with the injury from him. So here's my thing, and this is what I was going to get to, because I think the top 2 players in the league right now that are really, really good, and we're going to get into this because this is another thing we're going to go to, but I think SGA is very good. I think Giannis is very good, but Luka and Joker are at the top of the league right there too, right? I love Ant-Man, don't get me wrong, and stuff too, but You take two guys like Luka and Joker. These two guys don't look like they play a lick of basketball at first, right? They're so slow at the end, but they can't be stopped. This is what's dangerous, right? We talk about we sit here and we talk about Jordan, we talk about Kobe, LeBron, all these other guys who, yes, first steps, boom, they can get by these guys, they're fast, they use their power, yada yada, this and that, right? And they're exerting all this energy and they're getting, they're going crazy and they're so fast, and people were talking about Jordan was quick on that first step and boom, get by and this and that. And you couldn't stop them, right? These guys were pure scorers, just pure scorers. Get to the rim, get by you real quick. You couldn't stop them. And then you go and look at these guys, Jokic and Luka, playing just slow basketball, which what it looks like to us, right? It looks slow to us on if you're sitting here watching TV, they look slow, they look like they can't, they don't have moves, they're not blowing by anybody, they're not getting to the rim like crazy. They're fundamentally sound. They're very, very good ball players, but they score just like Jordan. They score just like the Kobe's when they're in their grooves, right? Now, I'm not saying they're the best scorers in the league. Don't get me wrong. That's a different league, right? You're talking about pure scorers. You're talking about Jordan, Mallow, Harden, those guys. I'm just talking about getting buckets. It doesn't matter if you're first step quick and can get to the rim and dunk it. If you're fundamentally sound, and this is for the people that are, watching us, that if you're still young, you don't need to be the fastest player. You don't need to be the strongest player. You could be the best. There was a guy named Tim Duncan that played, and they was called Mr. Fundamentals for a reason. And he has 5 rings to prove that. And he's probably, and in my opinion, he's the best power forward to ever play this game. I don't see anybody passing him in that right now, okay? You don't have to always have the best of everything to be the best. Just like this GOAT debate that we're going to have, which we talked about this too, Mike, we're going to get into this Luka trade, right? The Luka trade to the Lakers. How terrible was this trade, Mike? Is this the worst trade to ever go down in NBA history?
Yeah, because the trade itself is pure trash. I don't care what anybody says. We've all heard the stories. LeBron sitting there saying, I didn't know anything about it. That's so much bull crap. You're telling me a guy that's basically responsible for bringing Redick in as a head coach, and any head coach over the last, since he's been there, LeBron's had his hands on who was going to be the head coach of that basketball team, and it applied to Redick as well. But you're going to sit there and tell us that in no way did he have any knowledge that the Lakers were trying to acquire, Luka from the Mavericks. That's absolute bullcrap. And like Bud and I were talking about earlier, we had this past week. Come on, folks. Don't do this. Okay. Don't try to sell us a bunch of crap about, it was the Lakers just happened to be the team that they decided upon. They never looked anywhere else. So you tell me, why is it that they only look to the Lakers to make this trade? And you're telling me that they fully believed, both sides fully believed that a trade of Davis, for Luka was a straight up fair trade. That's a joke. Come on, folks.
It is.
This is all set up to keep the Lakers, to make the Lakers relevant. LeBron's fading, although his numbers are great this year, but let's get real. He's on the back end. The Lakers were fading. The Lakers weren't going to be relevant. They were going to hang around the 8-7 seed if they even made it. They bring in Luka. And all of a sudden, they're meshing better than I thought, probably even Bud thought, and that's great. But this is everything that they were hoping. It had nothing to do with Dallas. And nothing. Dallas.
I'm not gonna lie. Luka going to the Lakers, I knew. I in my heart watching that, I knew that they were going to get better. This kid, he's for real. I didn't like this. I'm not a fan of him going late. It just gives LeBron another chance to get another ring, right? Which was what everybody wants. You just want to see him win and win and win. And when do we stop with this of letting him get superstar after superstar after superstar to cement his legacy?
Because now it's all about having him push past Jordan. It's a collective effort. It's not just LeBron trying to do it. It's everybody trying to help him do it. He's on the back end. He's literally trying to at least match Jordan's 6 or some freaking magical way they could find a way with Luka now to extend, LeBron out a few more seasons and maybe find a way to get 7. So then he could have the most chips and all this other crap That's all this is about. It's a collective effort to push this dude at least to 6 so they can say, well, he went to more finals and he won as many finals as Jordan did. And I'm sorry, folks. Okay, real quick. This is where we get into even more ridiculousness. 50,000 points. You know what? That's great. It's great. Kudos. Never been done, all this crap. Kudos. How long did it take you to do this? You've been playing since 1974. Jordan did this in half the time.
Exactly. It's like he's hundreds and hundreds of games above everybody to get to there.
Thousands.
So 50,000 doesn't change your mind on who the GOAT is, right? Does he change your mind?
Oh yeah, sure does, bud. Sure does. 50,000 points. That sold me. That was the last thing I needed, because once he hit 50,000 at the age of 55, I was sold. I mean, anybody can do that at 65 years old. Hey, man, you got my vote.
Mike,
I hear you, bud.
Here's my question. Where does LeBron lie for you right now on your top 10 all time?
Well, we had this discussion. I could allow him to be in the top 5, folks. I could. I give LeBron this. He's earned his right. He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
So
I
he's
give
not
him
in your
his
top
jacket
5.
and all that crap.
He's not your top 5 right now.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, no.
If he wins a championship this year with them, does he move into your top 5?
That gives him how many? 5?
Yeah, give him 5.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would be his 12th final. Is this correct? Is that what it is?
12th, 11th, somewhere around there, I believe, something like that.
Yeah. No, I can't. I just don't see it. I see so many players.
Wait. We're not gonna get into this yet, because this is kind of throwing me, because we're gonna talk about this, okay, guys. Well, we're gonna get a little bit more into this discussion here with the Lakers and stuff more, but we're gonna take a break here in a few minutes, in a little bit. But after the break, Mike and I are gonna kind of digest our top 10 right now. I've done a video of this before, guys, on our last podcast. Went through this, but I have changed a bit. It was a while ago when we did this, so we want to kind of dive into this GOAT debate a little bit more on it, because I want to know exactly. I'll be completely honest. I feel like Mike and my lists are going to be a little bit, not a lot different, because I'm kind of surprised he's not in your top 5. But we're going to get into this after the break. But we're going to. I want to touch on something else on this trade here, Mike, because I don't want. We talked about the Lakers part of it, but I also want to get into real quick the Mavericks side of it. Right? They got Anthony Davis out of it, and I'm not going to say that that's a terrible. That's a terrible person to get, because Anthony Davis can play when healthy. Right? He was having a great season. Yes, I get what you're saying. And I am an Anthony Davis fan. I have been. I try to stick with him as long as I can. I didn't like him going Lakers also. But he was the best player in LA this year.
Yeah.
By far, the best player in LA. So,
he's healthy.
But then you send him to Dallas. Kyrie, now ACL, gone for the season. They don't even think he's going to come back for the start of next season. He's probably out for most of the season. So here's the thing, right? Management comes in and says, hey, we're going to make this trade. We want to trade you Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. Lakers are definitely on board. Absolutely. Where do we sign, right? They come back on. Their reasoning was, I'm not for the future. We're ready to win now. We're going to win in the next 3 to 4 years, right? Okay, 3 to 4 years. First year is already done. Kyrie's now hurt. They're sitting down Anthony Davis. They're just getting injuries like crazy. Another point guard got hurt, or shooting guard was hurt just recently. All this stuff going on, right? Year 1 done. Year 2, Kyrie might not even show up for the whole entire season, right? Don't know how many Anthony Davis is going to play, because if Kyrie's not out there, guess what? All the load's going to go on to him. He's not going to be able to withstand all of that, right? So year 2 is now gone. Year 3 now, you got to figure out if Kyrie's going to stay. You guys got a team together. Did you guys make great moves in the offseason? Did you get anybody else in? Because Klay looks like he is done. I'm sorry, the last few games I watched him play, the guy couldn't make a layup, to be honest with you. He's shooting is off. They got to get somebody else in there, right? Year 3 could be done. What are you supposed to do now? You said 3 to 4 years. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, but also, at year 3 of this, this supposed, plan of theirs, how these guys are going to be, how old? These guys are already in their 30s, bud. And
well, yeah, Kyrie's probably 33 already, 34, 80, same thing. So that's what I'm saying. You're gonna have you're gonna put the hands of Kyrie and Anthony at the ages of 35, 36 to try to go and win you everything. What is this? Karl Malone and John Stockton in the 90s with the Jazz?
And even if he does come back, even if Kyrie does come back, I mean, even if he comes back in 2 years, or if he comes up back at the back end of the next year, which if they're not going to the playoffs, he probably wouldn't anyway, because why would you bother? But so let's say he doesn't come back next year, right? He just uses basically a year and a half rehab at 30 plus, 34, whatever. Even if he's 25, there's no guarantees that off of an ACL you ever come back at 100%. It's been proven in all the leagues. ACLs.
What did I just say about Derrick Rose, right? What did I just say? And that guy was 22, 23-year-old Derrick Rose, right? And you're going to do that with a 10-year-old. He's 10 years older than Rose when he hurt himself. And you expect him to bounce back? I don't see that.
And maybe he does. Maybe he does. But the percentages aren't in his favor. So if he does sit out all next year, and the Mavs are going to suck. Let's get real here. They're going to suck. Now, this is the owners of this team, Cuban stepped away, and that's one of the worst things that happened to this franchise. Cuban was an invested owner. He was a fan. He knew basketball. He knew the ways to go to help his team improve, to be winners, to win a championship. The guy steps down, team instantly begins to go in the toilet, instantly. And look at this now. Next year, you got to be kidding me that you trade away potentially the best player in the history of your franchise. History. You just up and trade him. In one of the biggest joke trades, if not the biggest joke trade in NBA history. You basically given the fans the finger. Now your best players are out, for who knows how long. Davis will come back. Yeah, you're raising ticket prices next year. You're raising ticket prices on what? I watched a video of Mavs fans the night that Kyrie went down. The minute this guy goes down,
I was just gonna bring that up. I was just gonna bring that up to you because here's my next question. How long have you been watching sports for?
Oh, since 1912.
Have you, for one, there's two questions here. For one, can you tell me, and it doesn't even need to be NBA, it could be another sport, where you've seen a team trade their franchise, I'm not going to say their best or their franchise player at a young age for a older player who's still a superstar. I will call Anthony, he's still a superstar. For that guy who's 10 years older. So that's my first question. Have you ever seen have you ever seen that happen in any sport? My other thing is, do you agree, and are you okay with the way that the Mavs fans feel and the way that they are with this team?
Oh, I agree completely. At this point, if I was a Mavs fan, I'd just as soon have them take the team and move it someplace else. Move them to Seattle, move them to Nashville, to a place that wants a franchise. Because if that's the way you're going to approach it, then you're not invested in giving me a quality product. So why should I invest my money to support your garbage? Why would I do that? And it's interesting and real quick. I mean, and I love the colors you got on, bud. You're obviously you support the Rockies, that thing. But let's get real here. You know exactly where I'm going with this. And it surprises me. Now, this is worse than the Mumfords. And I think there was anything worse than the Mumfords as far as owners go. And I'm looking at the Mavs. These guys checked out. I don't know when they checked out, but they checked out before this season started. They have no interest in that team being successful.
The biggest difference between the two is I don't remember the last time the Rockies ever had anybody on the team like a Luka Doncic, other than back in the 90s when we had Helton and Walker and all these guys for sure, right? But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. When have you? That's what I'm saying. When have you ever seen this? When have you seen this? No. This is probably going to go down as the worst trade in not maybe just NBA history. It might be the worst trade in sports history ever.
It's very possible. Now, I'm saying, no, wait a minute. Let's go back to Babe Ruth. When they made that trade, and that was one of the all-time trades.
That's a good one. That's actually a great one. That's actually.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
There's a curse for that because of
there you go. And this team's going to have a curse. It's going to be a real curse. It's going to be one that you don't have any talent because you got rid of it all, and now nobody will go play for the Mavericks. Nobody. In part because you don't have any talent there. Secondly, you've got an ownership group that could care less about putting a quality product on the court. Not nobody going to play for that. And now you're going to raise ticket prices, and you think these fans are going to turn out for that? No, some will, but most won't. You'd be better off taking that franchise, offering it to Seattle, let Commissioner Penis Head turn his head the other way and just let him move on up to Seattle or Nashville or whoever's got $1 to drop and just tell Dallas to F off. Thanks for the memories. Here's your chip. We'll see you later. That's exactly what they're checked out. Their ownership is checked out on that franchise in that city.
I'm with you. I totally agree. I'm with. If I was a Mavs fan, if I was associate them, they have every right to be angry. I have never seen anything like this. This is ridiculous.
They have a right to ask for a refund.
They
paid money to see Luka Doncic. They didn't pay to see Anthony Davis.
Here's the other thing. Why?
Luka Doncic.
And you traded a guy that you were.
That's like if I go to Disneyland and Mickey Mouse isn't there. Well, why the F am I here then? I'm not here to see the castle. I want to see Mickey Mouse. Where's his ass at?
This is the part that gets me, right? I just said it when he said, we're in the market to try to get a championship now. He just took you to the finals last year. You guys were just in the finals. So why did you give him up? Because he lost? Him by himself against that Boston team, against Tatum and Brown? I'm sorry, but if that's what he's talking about, I'm sorry, but that's kind of a shot to Tatum and Brown. Like, he's not good enough to beat those guys. Like, they suck. In a way, that's my opinion, right? If you're getting rid of him and saying, we're trying to win right now. We're trying to win a championship. You just were in the finals with Luka. So you're saying he should have beat Boston? You're telling me he should have beat Tatum? He should have beat that those guys are scrubs? That they're not good enough to be champions? That's what he's saying. And he thinks Anthony Davis with Kyrie is going to make that a better. I'm sorry, no. Tatum, I'm a huge Tatum fan. Tatum and Brown, if they met up with Davis and Kyrie, it's gonna be ugly. Okay, Luka could keep them in. Luka could keep that team going. They can fight. You put those two. I'm sorry, it's over. It's a clean sweep. Games are done at 20 each. They're killing them. I'm sorry. OKC is gonna smash on this Dallas team with Davis and Kyrie and these guys. Okay, Luka is the reason that they are great. The reason they got to the final. Now I'm not taking away anything from Kyrie. Kyrie's great, but Luka is the man. He is the face of those teams that he goes to. He is the Lakers now. If that's not LeBron's team, that needs to be Luka's team. He's the one that gets them into the second seed right now. If they win a championship, it's going to be him that wins the championship. It's not going to be LeBron. It's not going to be anybody. It's not going to be Redick. It's not going to be it's the guy who made the trade, signed on the trade, got the call. Sure, given that it's all Luka.
Here's what I fully believe about the Lakers side of it, right? And folks, Anthony might even disagree with me on. I know a lot of you will, especially Laker fans. As great as this kid is, and he has the potential to be legendary in Luka. That's what I'm talking about, and he really does. He's a great ball player. I love the guy. I'd like to see him stay in a little bit better shape. Defensively, he's a little, he needs some improvement. But then so does 100% of the league, basically. But Luke is not. He's not. You're not building. The Lakers aren't winning. I'm sorry, folks. He might be able to draw some people to that team, some athletes, some good ball players, maybe when LeBron steps away. But I don't see it. It's not going to happen. Once this is done with LeBron and Luka, that's going to be pretty much it for your chips. It really is. This is a great kid. He's a guy who's going to be he's the face of your franchise, like Anthony just said. Chips aren't going to be rolling down like a waterfall for you guys with just Luka there. It's not going to happen. As long as the conference continues to improve around them, I'm talking about, the Nuggets and the cities and the San Antonios and all that stuff. Unless the Lakers can convince serious super talent to come in there and play with this kid, he's not taking any more after this. He is a great
I'm
player.
sorry. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. I think Luka.
I don't see it, bro.
I think Luka can take and this is why. And I'm gonna explain why I think he is going to win a little bit more. Once LeBron leaves, the Lakers no longer have to do what LeBron says. So they can go and get whatever free agent that fits Luka, whatever player they want to draft to help him get better. It's no longer a LeBron show where it's going to be LeBron says go, trade this guy, get rid of this guy. It's not LeBron's team anymore. The Lakers can finally be Lakers again instead of the LeBron Lakers, and then they can get players to help. That team is young. Other than LeBron, he's got Reeves, he's got Hachimura. They got young, good players on this team that are really good. They can build off of that. Luka's gonna make these guys better. I think that Luka's so good. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Other than, I'm gonna say that Jokic is 1, Luka's 2 to me. As much as I love SGA's 3. I'd put Giannis 4. Okay, but those two guys make a huge difference. We talk about what Jokic can do, right? And what he's been doing. Luka could do the same thing. You could put him on any team out there too, and I think he could do the same thing. I don't think he can do what Jokic is doing with the numbers and making them as good or making them contenders.
You're going to have another factor
but
here too.
I think he could. I think he can.
Here's the other factors too. One, if you go back to the Mavericks with Luka there, prior to Kyrie coming on, Mavericks were a good basketball team. Kyrie helped improve them, which I didn't think at the time they would, because Kyrie's he's a mental case sometimes. He got better. They worked together better than I thought they would, so they reached the finals. But Luka couldn't achieve this prior to that because, again, he's not that draw power. He couldn't draw the major talents to Dallas and get where they needed to be.
Yeah, but they're giving
Kyrie to come in.
But they're trying.
They got Kyrie to come in, but also what's going to happen here is when LeBron steps away, and I do fully believe that this is one area where I'll credit LeBron. And one area I will go, folks, is that LeBron maintains a physique that is second to none. This guy does have the ability of all things to keep himself in tip-top shape. And I'm putting aside all the on-court antics with the flopping and stuff. I'm talking about just looking at his conditioning. The guy does take that seriously. It is one of the reasons that he's playing as well as he is into his 40s. And I do believe that hopefully in the time that Luka spends with him, Luka will learn to build off of this and sort of mirror himself off LeBron once LeBron's gone. If he can't do that, if he begins to fall back into that, we're off for a few months, I don't necessarily get into shape right now, I'll do it right about a month before we get back to the court, that type of thing, that's not going to fly. That's not going to work. Not in this league. Not where things change every day, every week, every month. I mean, it moves that fast. Luka's he's going to have to take the reins of that team like Bud's talking about. I hope he does. I hope Anthony's right, but I'm afraid
I think he will, and I think he does, because here's the thing. Think about Luka's career right now. They keep giving him older guys or people past their prime to try to get him to just give him the rings now.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. He can bring these guys in, but they don't want to because they're spending money on Klay Thompson to come in here, Kyrie Irving to come in here. They're not going to get the young guys, and they're not drafting them because they think he can play with these old. No. I'm sorry, but look at Klay. Klay's not the guy. There's a reason Golden State let him go. There's a reason these guys in sports, when they get to a certain age and they see how they play, there's a reason they let them go. Now, some of these guys, yes, they fit in well, but there's some guys when they play this game, when you've been an all-star, a superstar, top 1 or 2 option on a team, it's really hard when your career is starting to get lower to go somewhere else and become 6th man, bench, a 3rd option, right? It doesn't work. Where Klay is now, but Klay's been a 3rd option before. So there's some games, yes, he was a 2 option in Golden State. Excuse me, when KD was there, he was obviously the 3rd option. He's not that same 3rd option, though, that he was in Golden State. He can't shoot the way he was. He doesn't get to the basket the way he was. His defense isn't the same that it is. It happens that way. Get Luka guys his age. Somebody like Oklahoma City. The average age in Oklahoma City is what, like 19? The guys in Oklahoma, that's like an average age is like 19. Oh, Houston. Look at Houston. Average age there is like 21 years old, and they're playing great ball too.
You know what I would like to see? This is what I would like to see, folks. And Anthony and I have talked about this. I am dead serious. Dead serious about this. We talked about this just a little bit ago with Joker and the Nuggets. And Anthony and I have talked about this off camera. I personally, because of the way his teammates conduct themselves and they should have been building off of that championship. They should have been competing. They should have been right there at the Western Conference Finals, vying to get to the finals or having a chance to get in the finals and win. Okay? Because of your teammates, lack of motivation, lack of confidence, they've got to crutch you for entire seasons and playoffs to get you where you need to be. You have to do everything. So I've told Anthony, I seriously, based on that, and I put Malone outside the box because I think as a coach, he's trying. I wasn't big on him when he started, but he's committed to winning. He speaks his mind, which I love. But here's the thing with me and the Nuggets, and I've told Anthony this, and I've told him this several times. Based on the way his teammates conduct themselves, Joker, I wish somehow, some way would demand a trade. I really do. Or I wish some team, and I'm going to go with the Lakers here right now, because this would be ideal. To Anthony's point, you really want, if you're the Laker fans, you want to make a run after LeBron's gone and keep it going, keep that train moving, you find a way to convince the Nuggets to send your Joker to the Lakers. You pair him up with Luka and some of these other guys on that team right now. Now you've got a freight train. That's a team that could do some serious damage moving forward. Can you imagine that? That court vision with those two guys? That would be ridiculous in today's NBA. With no defense? That would be insane.
Totally agree with you, Mike. But we're gonna get into this for sure a little more. We want to get into our GOAT debate. We want to talk about our top lists here, and then we're also later on, before the end of the podcast, we actually have a cool little game that we want to play with you guys. So right now, real quick, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna get right into talking about a little bit more of this GOAT debate and get into our top lists.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what, add it up. I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what, add it up. I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what.
All right, so we are back here, guys. We're going to get into our kind of top 10 GOAT debate. Everybody's kind of getting into this now. Obviously, LeBron, 50,000 points recently that he's hit, which has kind of made some people change their minds about who's now the GOAT, who's not the GOAT. We kind of brought in the list. Mike had told us that LeBron was not in his top 5, possibly, that even getting 5 rings doesn't put him in there. So we're gonna get into this discussion here a little bit, Mike. Let's kind of talk here. First question is what is your criteria to not necessarily be the GOAT, but to get into it, to be a top 10 player in the league? And when it comes to the NBA, we talk about it's so hard because when you do these lists, okay, each sport to me is very hard and very difficult to do. I think the easiest one is NBA as far as trying to get it all together. NFL is hard because they don't play both sides. Right? You know what I mean? You have to figure out there's got to be a defensive side person, there's got to be an offensive side person. You know, it's hard to just say, I know everybody says Tom Brady's a GOAT. Yes, but he's a GOAT of quarterback. You can't put Tom Brady at linebacker and expect him to do the same thing that Lawrence Taylor did, right? It's not going to happen. You can't put Lawrence Taylor under center and expect him to do the same thing that Brady was doing. It just doesn't work that way, right? So in the NBA, you play both sides. You do that. Baseball is a little different because you got pitchers, all this other stuff, all that. Hockey is way above my pay grade, so we're not gonna get into that. Wayne all the way, but we're not gonna get into there. But let's get into this a little bit. What is your criteria to be not a GOAT, but in your top 10 for you?
Talent, consistency, leadership. What was the other one I was just about to mention to you about? It just escapes me. But one of my biggest things, and I guess, I don't know if you can term it with one word. You could say loyalty, but it's not necessarily put that way. Durability, no, that's not the word I'm looking for. Essentially, it's a person, you're driven to overcome the obstacles, that's presented to you. You're not chasing chips. You're building with what is around you. You're helping to lay a foundation. You're setting examples to go by. And my biggest thing is that you changed the way the game is played. That's my biggest criteria, is some aspect of your game changed the way the game is played. Michael Jordan changed the way the game is played. Magic Johnson changed the way the game is played. Larry Bird, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, these guys, Tim Duncan, these are guys, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry changed the way that position is played. And that's my biggest thing. You can win chips. It's great. It really is. But when you start looking at a player's personal accomplishments, to me, that's just as big. Chips are not just a singular effort. It is a combined effort. It does take 4 other guys, and then you've got to have bench help to get the job done. You really do. And one of my biggest issues with LeBron is this guy became a title chaser. He wasn't willing to ride it out, to try to make it work, bring in different talent. Let's just see this through. We'll build something, and we'll try to do it the hard way, the honest way. LeBron's always taken the easy way out.
Okay, so where is he on your list then? If you were to put him, is he top 10?
He's top 10, yes.
Where's he at?
I'd probably put him 6.
Who's above him?
I'd go with Jordan. I would go with Kobe.
I just meant who's 5? I mean, we both probably know. Jordan's going to be at the top for both of us. But so who's your 5? Who's above him?
I think Tim Duncan's a much better player than he is. I think on the whole, I'm looking at position. I'm not looking at just overall landscape. I get it, all-time 5. But I'm looking at what they also did per their position. You look at how many titles did Tim Duncan win? And yes, he won the first one with David Robinson. I get that. But look what these guys basically all stayed within their organizations to build. Yes, Kareem transitioned from Milwaukee and he went over to the Lakers. He was Lou Alcindor with Milwaukee and he became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the Lakers. But the majority of his career was spent with the Lakers. He rode through these things.
Okay.
He didn't ask for Magic Johnson to be brought in.
You were gonna list them. Who's your top 5 then? If you're listing them, who's your?
I go Magic. Michael Jordan. I go Kobe Bryant. I go Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I like Tim Duncan. I really do. I think his legacy speaks for itself. It really does. I really do.
You think Bill Russell's better than LeBron James?
I do in the sense, Bud, that you've got to look at what these guys built together and who was the focal point of that team. This guy
okay.
also went on to win titles outside the coach.
I get what Bill Russell, but here's my thing, okay? And I used to be until I started looking into this a little bit more about Bill, okay? I get the 11 championships. Nobody's probably going to touch that. It's whatever. He did it at a different time frame, right? But here's my thing. He played at the same time as Will. They played at the same year, same era, all this and that. Will averaged 30. They're the same size. They towered over everybody. Why didn't Bill at least put up 20 for his career?
Well, again, but and again, this is going to lean towards what you're saying, but people have to look at the fact that yes, Bill Russell had this exceptional talent around him, but he was what made the engine go. It's proven. You know, the 2 times that they didn't reach the finals is because he was hurt. They got to the conference finals, but he couldn't finish it because he wasn't there. So they didn't make the 2 times they did not make in his career.
No, and I get that. But the problem is, but you're not dominating. Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't have dominated your era. Like, Will put up what we think is 100 points in a game. He's averaging 30 and 20. I mean, why are you not doing the same? At least 20. I'm not saying you got to go get 30 or 40.
But he didn't have to.
But that's what I'm saying. So
Joker has to. Joker has to.
He does. But
Russ
but the thing. But my. No, I get that. But I'm saying.
To.
But I'm putting Joker over Russ. I'm putting Shaq over Bill Russell. Like right now, because the only thing that I see that gives me Bill Russell is 11 championships. There's nothing else that I see from him that I can sit here and say. Now, and this is because of this more talent that's came out. And if we're doing this in the 80s, and we're talking about, if we're in 1980 right now, we're talking about this, yes, Bill's up there because of talent. But there's been so much more talent that's just better than him. Like, I think to myself, if you put Will out here in this, can he still do it? Yes, he can still do it. I don't think Bill Russell could play in any era.
No, I would give you that, but I'd give you that. I understand what you're saying with that too, and I do get that. Guys now are bigger, they're more physical, those type of things. I get that. But here's LeBron. He's a title chaser. You're not bring it to me. I'm going to go to you and I'm going to ride your coattails. He had to have that exceptional athlete next to him to get anything done. He had to absolutely have.
Yeah, I get the whole title.
Outside the box was with Cleveland
yes,
the first time.
I 100% agree with you on the title chase. I agree with. He took his, he left to South Beach, and I understand that. But when
you're so great, then stay.
Okay, but
and showcase for me that you can dominate. Showcase that to me. Don't take it someplace else and have to have 2 guys help you here, 1 guy help you there, another guy help you with this team. And now here we are again with you on the back end of your career. And I get that the organization may not have helped you like you expected them to. I get that. I defend LeBron with that. But here we are. You were on the back end about to exit out. They had to bring in Luka here, who is going to be the reason that if you get to the finals, it's not going to be because of you. It's going to be because of Luka. Once again, you're bailed out.
I get that, and I don't want to back up LeBron, right? Okay, but here's a question for you, Mike. I am kind of on his side on this because of what I'm going to ask you here. But back in those days with Russell, where would you have put Bob Cousy at as far as best players in the league? During that time frame with Bill Russell. No, yeah, in the NBA in general. If somebody was to say, rank your top 5 back then when Bill Russell played, would Bob Cousy be in your top 5?
I don't know if he'd be in my top 5, but I mean, we're talking about a Hall of Famer.
Exactly. So, but I'm saying you're talking about LeBron has this, he's had that, he's had to get this superstar player. Bob Cousy was a top 3-point guard, top 5. He could be argued as a top 5 back in that league. He's a champion. Russell had him. So it's kind of one of those things where, but it
didn't go get him.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I get that he didn't go get, but I'm saying, but he also had that talent that LeBron had too. He didn't, but also that wasn't a thing back then. Players didn't go and switch teams.
No,
They
exactly.
didn't do that. But I'm just saying.
They have
But
the
I'm just
balls
saying
to
if
stick it out and take the
and
good
I
with
get he's
that.
going to get him, but I'm saying Russell also had top tier talent on his team. That's why Bird sometimes doesn't get the credit, right? Because some people would say Bird had McHale and Parrish and Dennis Johnson. He had all these players around him. Yes, but Bird was a different animal on the court. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely,
Bill Russell,
definitely.
you don't look at Bill Russell's game and say, this guy, if you're down by 10 with 4 minutes left, you need to get this team going. You're not giving the ball to Bill Russell to get you back in this game. He can't. He doesn't have that talent. Bird can do that. He can go and do that, even though he has all these. The point I'm getting to is if they needed to get buckets and it went to Kuzi to do that because Bill was the defender, which is fine. In Boston with Bird and all that, they didn't go when they needed that bucket or they needed a run. They didn't go to McHale. They didn't go to Parrish. They didn't go to John. They went to Bird. He was the scorer. He was the one to get the team rolling, which is why he's better. But if you think about it this way, if you were to put LeBron just rolling out the ball, LeBron against Bill, he's killing him. He's destroying Bill. It's not even going to be close.
But his impact on the game isn't what Bill Russell's was. And
No,
yes,
and I'm not.
you know, Will Chamberlain was there at the
This
same time.
this is just. I'm taking this right now as just a side from the. I'm just talking about their ball playing. Just the way that they play, not any off court stuff. What they've done for the game, just their attributes, their talents of basketball. Who is a better ball player?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say that's probably true. They're probably a better ball player. But when you're talking about the greatest of all time, you're putting a whole lot into that determination. It isn't just their. I don't think it's just their singular skill set. I think it's were they good leaders. You know, obviously you can throw in the championships, that type of thing. I think there's more that goes into it than just he just did this. I mean, you know, you're Joker's.
Yeah, but see, for me, and that's why, and this is great, and I'm glad we're having this debate because we're talking differently. Because for me, your top list is based off of really is everything what they've done. Well, and I'm saying for me because when I think about, I try to stick with what they did. Like I don't want to go with the off-court stuff or what they've done for the game. I want to know what your game was like. What did you do out there on the court? How did you play? Jordan went out there and he won 6 rings with no defeats. And guess what? Those 6 rings were 3-peats.
Yeah.
They were 3-peats.
Exactly.
He dominated a whole entire decade. And not only did he 3-peat, he 3-peated once, left to play a whole nother sport, to come back and 3-peat again. What that's insane.
Why if and this goes to the same exact point. So why would anybody put LeBron over Kobe Bryant for personal ability? Why would anybody do this?
Put LeBron over Kobe?
What number of defensive titles does he have? He has none. He has 1, I think. 1 defensive.
So here's the thing. So like I said, my stuff has been has been changing a lot. I have to really sit down and think about it. And we're kind of just going off the top of our head. So don't sit here and take us folks for our exact list. This is kind of off the top of our head, but Kobe's moving up for me. The more I start listening to stories, the more I start paying attention a little bit more to what he's actually done. Now, I get it. Kobe gets the backlash, right? Because of Shaq. Here's my question to you. Who was the Batman and who was the Robin in your eyes of that Lakers tandem right there? Those two.
I still personally, but I will always lean towards nobody will agree with me. You might, maybe a few other people. I'm sorry. I don't care what Shaq says. Kobe is my Batman. Kobe came into every season ready to go, in shape. Let's get this done. Shaq's off again. We got the Angel Reese thing to a degree. He's off doing the endorsements in the movies and all this stuff, and more power to you. But you didn't spend the proper amount of time going into the gym, getting yourself in peak condition, and helping Kobe win another championship. Shaq is the reason they couldn't repeat. It wasn't Kobe. Kobe was the Batman Shaq will never agree with that, but Shaq was the Robin. I don't give a crap what he says. You know, they both went on to win other championships, but let's get real here. Let's get real. Who did Shaq team up with in Miami to win another chip? Who?
No, well, Dwayne Wade, but that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing, and this is why, and if folks try to tell you, if they try to get to it, you about, oh, you know, Batman was Shaq, then why'd you trade Batman?
That's exactly it.
Why'd you get rid of him? Why did he go away?
That's exactly it.
That proves right there. And if that's the case, when Batman left, Robin got another one.
Yeah.
Without you.
And you just made a great point. Here's Kobe rising up Anthony's list of legendary ball players in the top 10. Shaq quickly falling down my list of top 10 centers of all time. Because, I'm sorry, it begins to show itself more and more when we look at the big men and what they were able to do. And certainly what you see with Joker doing now. Joker's redefined the position of the center as it's played today.
Absolutely.
And it's going forward. He's going to be the guy, since everybody can't seem to go back and look at a video of a player from 5 years ago, because that's ancient history now. It's not 10, 20 years ago. It's 5 years ago. 5 years ago is ancient for today's viewer. That's where it's at. So you can't go beyond Joker at the center position, but that's what they're going to base it on. And they couldn't pick probably a better person right now, because Joker's going to be one of those guys who may potentially be. Maybe he won't be Kareem, but he might become the second best center of all time. I mean, like Anthony mentioned earlier, the numbers are insane right now with what he's doing. And so it's absolutely ridiculous. So for me, Shaq continues to slowly move down the list of centers as opposed to moving up, although Shaq considers himself to be the greatest center of all time.
Well, and so for me I'll be honest. I'm not sitting here trying to throw shade at Shaq because he's amazing. I think he's a very very good center, and he played in the right era. That was the perfect era for him. He did what he was supposed to do at that era. He's by far one of the most dominant centers to ever play. I think Wilt's more dominant than him, but at the same time, he's got stats, he's got numbers to prove how dominant he was. Right? Okay, it's fine. There's my point. But when push comes to shove, and you were supposed to be that great, and Jordan's gone, there's nothing in your way to get to where you need to be. You ran into somebody named Akeem Olajuwon who just put you on skates, who really put you on notice that, I mean, let's be honest, he ran him out of Orlando. Let's just be honest. He couldn't win in Orlando. He didn't think he could. Next best thing, I'm going to LA. I'm going to go to Hollywood and sign this. I mean, let's be honest, it's for the money. $120 million. Of course, he wasn't passing it up, right? Of course, but in the end, Olajuwon still beat him. And Shaq will say that Olajuwon was one of the toughest thing, which brings me to my next thing here, because I've heard this debate not long ago, and I can't remember who was talking about it or where I heard it from, but Olajuwon against Jokic. Here's the thing, because Jokic, we talking about, he's moving up. I don't know where Shaq is on your list. I don't know where Olajuwon is on your list. These are your top centers to be playing right now. I mean, there's other guys. Obviously, Kareem's up there, which we'll get to him. But I think Kareem is one, in my opinion. Kareem is still up there, far away from him. I don't think Wilt's that high. Wilt's dominant. He's great, this and that, but he's not above me than Shaq, than Hakeem, and Joker yet. So, for me, and here's my question is, because we both love these guys, who would you take, and who do you think is the better center, Hakeem or Jokic?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Both are very versatile. You know, obviously Joker can't get up and down the court like Kareem could, or Olajuwon could run the court pretty decently for a big guy. He's very fluid. He doesn't have the court vision that Joker has. I don't think he has the outside distance shot that Joker has. Man, that's tough.
Okay, well let's think about this, right? Okay, so inside, I don't think either one could stop each other on offense. I don't think they could, and I'm talking about on the block. Give me the ball. I'm not talking about just getting the ball at the top and getting inside. I'm talking about on the block. They're on there. Throw it into me. I don't think either one can stop him. And don't get me wrong, this is how good Jokic is. So for the old heads out there that have seen Hakeem play, and I know he's a tremendous defender. Trust me, guys. I am a huge Hakeem fan. I know what he's done. I know he's on the top of the list in blocks. I know he could steal the ball just like Jokic. But there's a difference. There's a size there. And don't get me wrong, because Hakeem played against Shaq, who was dominant and could just back down people. But when you have Shaq was just give me the ball, bam, 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 and back to the back. Jokic. Yes, he's got the body to do that, but he also can head fake, get around, make circuit shots inside, which I think would be hard on Hakeem to get the blocks in, to be able to, to stop him like he wants to as a defender. Same thing on the other side. Jokic's defense isn't tremendous to where that dream shake, he's going to get him a number 10. He's just faster. Hakeem is faster. The footwork is insane. Where on the block, I think it's a wash, right? Yeah. We step out a little bit further on the 20-footer, right? I give that to Hakeem. And the reason why, I think, because when you're talking about 20-footer, I'm not talking about just the shot. You give Hakeem that first step, he's going right by him. It just can't. Jokic is not the defender to move his feet to stay with it. He's going to go right by him. And also, Hakeem wasn't a bad shooter from 20 foot.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely not. He can knock that down. Jokic can shoot it, of course. Yes, that's fine. But also, I don't see him. He can't blow by Hakeem. Hakeem has the footwork to get away from to be able to stop Jokic if he was trying to go by him, though.
I'll tell you what, but you made some fantastic points with these comparisons, and I agree with you. A lot of it's a wash. I'm going to lean towards Jokic for one reason, and it's a very, very slim lean, right? Hakeem had a beautiful turn move, side baseline, almost unstoppable. He spit on you, he's going to the basket. The quickness was there. What I lean towards, ultimately, if you're going to ask me, Mike, pick one, who is it going to be? I'm going to lean towards Joker because his court vision for a big man is point guard-esque.
Oh,
he's got Steph Curry vision.
Let me explain something here. I'm not going for Hakeem. I think Jokic is better. And so let me explain why. So if we're just talking about one-on-one, they're gonna play. I'm picking Hakeem. If it's just one-on-one, game to 11, so I'm going Hakeem. You're telling me you're going to put 5 other players with these guys? I'm going Jokic all day. 30, 20, and 20. Yeah. Hakeem has never seen double digits in assists. I don't even know if he's seen it in his career ever. I don't know if Hakeem's ever had double digits assists. So when you talk about...
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Real quick, but I'm going to go across the landscape of the history of the NBA in the center position. Even through, and obviously, you haven't seen everybody, but you've had highlight reels. I'm telling you from what I've seen, I think your dad would agree with this. Maybe not, but I think he would. Of the center position throughout the history of the NBA, I don't think there's a better center in the history of the game with court vision than what Joker has. It's next level. It's
100%.
It's point guard vision.
Oh, 100%. No,
it's absolutely
but that's
insane.
what I'm saying. When you put these two in comparisons, right? If you're just talking about one-on-one, fine. I'm okay with saying that Hakeem is the better ball player. He's faster. He's got more moves. But when you're talking about basketball as a team sport with all 5, it's not even close with what he can do. Jokic, if he wanted to, he could score 50 points when he wants to. He just doesn't. Because he gives his other teammates a chance. You watch these guys who just take over and just score and score and score. You watch like a James Harden. You give that guy the green light, he's shooting all day, scoring all day. He'll put up 60 while the rest of his teammates don't even have double digits and they lose the game by 20. And it doesn't matter because he put up 60, right? Jokic makes sure that he tries to keep his team in the game every single time. Now, don't get me wrong, I get it. Hakeem was the reason that the Rockets won those championships. He was absolutely it. Back-to-back's amazing. He's got more ships than him. But he doesn't do what Jokic does. He rebounds. He scores. But where's the assist? He doesn't give those assists. You don't see Hakeem giving that ball up unless it was to Kenny Smith for some threes.
Let's remember this too: that even though it was on the back end of his career, he played with a Hall of Famer. Clyde Drexler was a pretty good ball player. Even after he transitioned from Portland to Houston, he was still a pretty good ball player. And Joker's not. There's no future Hall of Famers on the Nuggets. There's anybody remotely close to being a Hall of Famer on the Nuggets. Not going to happen. Not with what's on there right now. This is Joker playing by himself. It's really him playing by himself. It really is.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
so if you
had
could,
a good
but
complement
that's
of
what I'm
players,
saying.
But he had one Hall of Famer with him.
And I say that I totally agree with you. But that first championship, he didn't have any real Hall of Famers with him either, though. Hakeem.
No, Clyde was there.
For the first one?
He was there for both.
He was there for both. I thought he was only there.
That's why this is my regret, bud. Is that this is why
I thought Clyde was only there for the second one. I didn't think he was there for both.
No, can you look it up real quick?
Let's see. Let's take a look and see.
He should have been there for both. I'm pretty sure he was there for both, bud.
Let's see if we can find out here.
But that was my regret, bud. Was that I've always wondered that Bulls team against that Houston team. I still think the Bulls win each year in 6.
So, let's see. Clyde was with them in 94 and 95, and then, was it 93, 94?
I can't remember.
They won. See, he wasn't on that team.
He was not on that team.
No, and they were the NBA in 93, 94.
Okay.
They had Sam Cassell, Mario Elie, Robert Horry was on there. Obviously, okay. Kenny Smith, obviously, too. Otis Thorpe. But no, he only won the second one.
Okay.
He didn't. The first championship for Hakeem. But it's either way. Jokic is a better team basketball player, but Hakeem's first ship, I think, it's a better look for him because he didn't have. I mean, if you put that Nuggets championship against that Rockets team, that Nuggets team is going to kill them. It's not even going to be close on what they do because the talent of what you're taking that team at that time. Murray was unstoppable on that run. The guy's averaging close to 30 himself during that, on top of what Jokic is doing. You had KCP, you had Bruce Brown, you have Michael Porter, Aaron Gore, all these guys playing at top of their game. That's why they won the ship, right? I don't see that Rockets team stopping that Nuggets team, right? So more talent to Denver with that first team. Hakeem had to do it with a little less talent, but that still doesn't take away as far as when you're thinking of them as ball players. Jokic is better. And I still think right now he's not number one to me in centers yet. No. He's close, but you can't. I mean, and it's not just statistics. It's not always just. It's a bit of everything. I mean, Kareem, other than before LeBron passed him up, he was the number one scorer in all of the league. 38,000 plus points. I mean, he rebounds the heck out of the ball. 6 championships. He's got 4 MVPs. I mean, the guy did everything, and this is on top of playing with Oscar Robertson in Milwaukee, playing with Magic in the Lake Show, being, out there with those guys, and he still was. How do you play with the Lake Show for as long as you did, run with that team, and still have the most points scored? That team ran like crazy, and he was behind them all the time. How does he put up so many points?
Well, possibly Kareem may have had the most indefensible shot in the history of the game.
And ain't nobody ever going to get that shot again. The only person that could maybe mimic that, if it was possible, is Wemby. You have to have a wingspan to be able to do that. Yeah. It's not something you can just... You can't go and teach... You can't go teach Anthony Davis how to go do that hook shot. It doesn't work. You got to have... He was born to do that shot. I think God just made him have that shot. I don't think anybody else can ever replicate it. It can't be done, right? Kareem right now is just too far. But
they get him down in the post. They get him down in the post, and you knew what the shot was going to be, and you still couldn't.
And he played against some great defenders.
Oh yeah, he played against some great defenders, but that's how indefensible
he played against Lanier and these guys, Willis Reed, all these guys that were really great defenders, and they couldn't stop him. So what does that tell you?
I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. I mean, you couldn't stop it.
Yes. So for me, he's still above. Now, I don't think Jokic needs to get 6 rings to pass him or be close. I don't even think he needs to get 4 or 5. But if he gets 2 or 3 and keeps going at this pace with the points, with the rebounds, with the assists, even the steals at this point, what he's doing, he keeps accolading all this other stuff, keeps getting to the playoffs, goes to the final, gets to Western Conference Finals, gets to finals, maybe even loses in some finals. That's okay. He can still surpass Kareem as the best center ever. I think right now, though, Jokic is 2. He is 2. It's hard to not put him. And I don't care that people can come in and say, Shaq has 3. He got the 3 people. I don't care. Jokic is by far a more superior center than Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh yeah, that's not even a conversation in a reality conversation. The last thing I'll say about this, and Denver fans, this is directed specifically at you. And I'm going to tell you right now, for you fans that go to these games, and Anthony lives there, and he knows, because Anthony has an appreciation for this. His dad does too. I had it with Elway. His dad had it with Elway. Same mindset. So I knew, his dad knew, and Anthony even knew when Elway stepped down, that was it, lights out. Denver, that's it. There are no more Super Bowls. Now, you may get one down the line with Knicks, that's fine, but you look, and you can't, let's put Manning aside, but here's the thing. When it wasn't going to be happening anytime in the near future when John stepped down. So to all the Nugget fans out there, I strongly suggest to you that you appreciate every single night you go to that arena and you watch this guy play, whether in person or on TV, and appreciate what you're seeing, because it's legendary. A lot of it's never been seen before. You just had a situation where he just set history with something. Appreciate this, because when he's gone, through trade, whatever, retirement, that's it, lights out, your title hopes are gone. It'll be decades probably before you guys see it. We appreciate this man, because he's a once in a lifetime.
I totally agree with that, and I can say this now because when he first was with us, when Jokic first got here, he wasn't anything great at first. We first got drafted, played or whatever. Even when he started getting better, we started getting into the playoffs with him. I still did not put him over Mallow. Mallow was the man for me. Mallow was the guy that changed Denver Nuggets basketball. I mean, we weren't good for decades. I mean, up until we had great teams. The Nuggets had great teams in the 80s, right? With English and Lever and Issel and, all them. Great teams back then. They just couldn't get over the Lake Show, right? I mean, they probably could have won a championship back then. They just couldn't get past the Lake Show. That was the tough part about it, right? Then we had our years with the Mutombo and Stith and LaFonso Alice, where we just couldn't get over. We just couldn't do anything. But then we had that nice little run where we make the playoffs. We become a first 8 seed to ever beat, knock off those Seattle Supersonics. Like, that was really cool, right? That was great to see. But we still weren't great. You knew it wasn't a run. They weren't going anywhere, right? Until Mallow got here, right? And Mallow changed Denver Nuggets basketball for the better. The jerseys that first came in was, I loved the baby blue. I loved the white. I loved what they were doing. They started bringing in talent. I mean, we were seeing talent here in Denver that we had never seen before, right? You're talking about Chauncey coming here. You're talking about AI coming here. Kenyon Martin, Marcus Camby. These were guys at the top of their game at this point. I mean, Kenyon came with us a little bit later in his career. He wasn't he wasn't the Nets player that he was where you got to the championship, but he was still Kenyon Martin. He was great. I love Kenyon. Kenyon was one of my favorite players still on that team. I still love him today. Shout out to Kenyon. I still watch Gil's Arena for sure, just for that guy, because I love him to death. But that team was so much fun to have. Melo was so great. I was like, there is nobody that could ever top what Melo did. Yes, he went to New York. I get Nuggets fans were. It's a business decision. He needed to do what he wanted. It was going to happen, isn't it? He wanted to go to New York. That's his spot. He lives there. He's got his podcast now, the Brooklyn, whatever it is. That's his home. Fine. He wanted to go home. Yeah. He did. He did what he needed to do. But he changed Nuggets basketball for me. He made me love the Nuggets all over again. He brought Western Conference Finals to us. He just got, once again, another Nuggets team that ran into a Lakers team that was just better. Kobe was just better, unfortunately. Magic was just better, unfortunately. I don't mind when we lose to better players. Magic, all time better. Kobe, better. It happens that way, okay? But he changed everything. And for the life of me, it would not change. I could not sit here and say anybody's going to surpass Melo. That's long gone for me. Jokic will always forever be the best. He got a championship here. He's doing crazy, insane things right now as a basketball player. We're talking about him. Melo was never considered the best player in the NBA at all. He was top players. He was in top 5, top 3. You can count one time. But he was never, anybody come up here and said, he is the best player in the NBA. Yes, he's the best scorer. Yeah. He's strong. He has this great game about him, but he was never the best player. Jokic has been the best player in the league for a few years now.
Yeah, and the last few things I'll say about Joker, one is you made this point just a little bit ago, is that everything he does is so effortlessly that it just becomes commonplace. You look at the stat sheet, you expect the triple doubles, so you're not wide-eyed when you look at it. And that's why I say appreciate this, because it's going to be gone before you know it. The last thing I'll say about this, and this is the kind of guy that Jokic is, folks. This is a very humble person. This is a guy like Anthony I've talked about. This is a guy who wins the NBA championship, gets the MVP, and loses the award, and he has no clue where it's at. They have to find it and bring it back to him because he just doesn't really care. Guy sets a record the other night, 20 and 20 and 30 and all this stuff. And what is really his first concern is that they're doing back-to-backs. They got a back-to-back because of this. And his big concern is,
he acted like he does this like it's nothing. It's just he acts like the way that everybody does when they just they're working their 9 to 5, right? Hey, I just went to work, came home. How was your day? I'm sure he walked in to his house. Not that his wife probably wasn't watching the game or there to watch it, but it's like, hey, honey, how was your day? It was good. It wasn't fine. What are you guys up to? What's for dinner? That's how he treats this game about. And that's insane to think, right? Like, people that put up those stats, it's going nuts. Oh, my God, I can't believe. He's like, nah, well, cool. I just got to get some rest and get ready to go for the next one.
Yeah.
Why can't more players be like that? Why can't they just be like that more in the NBA?
He's so low key that sometimes you wonder if playing basketball even really matters. It does. It does, but it's not his priority. It's his family. It's his horse racing. It's that type of thing. He's very grounded. He has a very good perspective on things and how to go about it. And like Anthony just said, not just basketball, but just in sports in general, we need more athletes like that don't just do the photo op, charity work, and they don't thank the good Lord above because they think it's the right thing to say. He's genuine, and what he says is what he means, and that he literally is about family. And the accolades, they'll be there for him when he retires, and he'll look back on all that when he's done. And that'll all speak for itself. That's all he needs. He's a lunch pail guy, and I'm telling you, appreciate it, because he's going to be gone before you realize it.
I agree. I agree.
Better appreciate it.
For sure. Well, guys, I was going to kind of go into a little bit of my list here, but I think now that we've kind of gotten into this now we're... I think we've kind of ruffled some feathers, anger management podcast here. I think it's time for me to do another list, Mike. What do you think? Maybe now that we got the new podcast, maybe I put in another list. Maybe I kind of go through stuff again, and because it's changed a lot, guys. Don't get me wrong. Like, I had Steph Curry outside
But
of the
that's the
list
beauty
this
of it.
last
It
time
should
that we've done
change.
this. And Steph is probably going to be in this list, right? So I think I'm
Yeah,
going to
it should
hold off on
change.
my list for a little bit, guys. I'm going to kind of keep you guys, you know, on the edge of your seats here. And I think it's time for me, now that we got a new podcast here, new things going on here, I think it's time for you guys to get another list of ours. So we're going to put a pin on this right now because we want to get into something new here that we're going to try and see if you guys enjoy. And we're going to call this Rank These, okay, guys? And each week we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to start off with this one this week. And it's just going to be a random. Mike's going to have 5 options of something that I pick, and he's got to rank them 1 through 5, but it's going to be blindly. So I'm going to give him one thing, and today's thing is going to be, I want you to rank these top 5. I want you to rank these top, but they're going to be sports movies, but you're going to blindly do them. So I'm going to give them to you one at a time, and you got to put them in order depending on where you would put them in your list, but you never know what's on the list. So I could give you something crazy that you're like, oh, I really love this movie, and you might put it at number 1, but you might get something that's even better, and you're like, why didn't I put that in one spot? And when we're all said and done with it, we're going to look at the list and see where you put all these, okay? So first off, we're going to start with Remember the Titans.
5.
Ooh, we're going to go 5 with that one. Okay, I like that.
Great movie, but 5.
Why you go 5 with that one?
Because I'm already contemplating what personally I would look at, and I think it's a top 10 movie definitely. But I have other movies in mind and again, I'm talking personal perspective, like Anthony's talking about, folks. So, but I love Remember the Titans. I'm a huge Denzel fan, football, all that good stuff. True story. But right now I'm going to go 5 on that.
Okay. Next one we have is Bull Durham.
That's pretty good.
Now, think
That's
about,
really
okay, now here, this
good.
is crazy. So now, would Bull Durham, this is kind of the funny part about this whole thing, right? Would Bull Durham is Remember the Titans better than Bull Durham for you, though, if you would have had this list a little differently? No, okay, so okay, we can go
because
for
I like the comedy aspect of Bull Durham.
Okay, all right. Well, so next one
So the Bull Durham is 4 for me.
Okay, so the next one we have here is the Bad News Bears.
Oh yeah, you got
Original. We're gonna go original,
Yeah.
old school, original.
That's a good one too, because I would not have the other 2 movies. I would not have this above those 2 movies. So because of that, I have to go 3.
Okay.
I love the movie, the original.
Yes.
The second one with Thornton, Billy Bob was good, but the remake was good. But the Walter Matthau original, that's a classic.
Okay.
But I wish I didn't know that.
That's the whole
But that would
point,
be 3.
and that's the fun part about this, right? So for sure.
Yeah.
So the next one now, we have 2 more left. The next one, depending on where you put it, Rocky.
That's a
The
good
first one. Rocky, first one.
Still not the one I have in mind, but yeah, I could do that. I'd go 2.
Okay.
I could put that above the other ones.
And last, that would go, it's going to be your number 1 spot, I have, is Hoosiers.
1.
Yep.
You absolutely picked. That was my 1.
Well, unfortunately, we did see, unfortunately, rest in peace to Mr. Gene Hackman, tremendous actor, right? Unfortunately, he had some issues going on there at home. We still don't know everything that's going on, so we're not going to kind of dive into that. But rest in peace to him, his wife, to that. But a tremendous movie, right, Mike? Just absolutely great movie.
A movie that generates that kind of emotion, and one of the great lines in sports movie history when he's looking in the huddle. He's speaking to his team, and the kid says, "I'll make the shot."
Yeah,
I'll make it.
I'll make it. Jimmy Chitwood.
I'll make it. You couldn't help but get emotional. I don't care how many times you watch this movie. I've seen Hoosiers. Anthony's seen Hoosiers. His dad. We've seen this movie many times. And there's not a moment that I watch this movie from start to finish. There's certain points in the movies you get emotional because of everything that's happening. You get attached to the characters, in part because it's autobiographical, because it's based loosely on aspects of things that took place. But you get attached to these characters, and by the time they reach that championship game, you're so invested in what they're doing. And there's a little team that could, so to speak, the little engine that could, and they got this giant that they're facing. So it's got all those aspects. And like Bud said, I mean, Gene Hackman, one of the greatest actors in history. how could you not like this movie if you're a real sports fan, especially a basketball fan? It's just a great.
No, for
freaking
sure.
movie.
I mean, and you know, you don't go wrong with any of these movies when you think about
No,
it. When you go
no,
on this
great
list,
point, okay.
you know, and they all have differences about them. You got the Rockies and the Hoosiers, where it's a incredible story, all this stuff going on. And you kind of look at the Bad News Bears, where it's a lot of comedy, but it's still really good about how they get to
Awesome.
becoming how they is. But the comedy of that is really good, and not to mention, I mentioned it's the original version, but even the newer version, right? It's not as new anymore, but Billy Bob Thornton, when he did it was just as funny, just as good. It's hard to redo a movie like that, right? It's hard to try to remake it and be as good as they did, because I don't think you could take a Hoosiers movie and remake it right now and it be just as good as, like you say, like a Bad News Bears or something like that, right?
And even the remake with Thornton, sort of repeating the original, that was a good movie. I enjoyed it, but it didn't have the feel of the original. And for moments in sports movies, are you kidding me? When they go in Bull Durham and they all meet at the mound.
Oh, that movie's that's what I'm saying, right? So in Bull Durham, you get a little bit of everything in that movie, right? You get the drama, you get the comedy, you get happy, sad. I mean, the list goes on. But the reason I like Bull Durham the most, and a lot of people don't, because everybody thinks about these movies as being, oh, we want to see, that they made it to they're in the majors, and what major league teams. It's all about a triple A ball club, right? That's what it is. It's about a triple A ball coming up from there, what they have to go through, how hard it is when they finally get the call, what it's like, and then obviously you have. It shows that there's a lot of these players who are past their prime, or still trying to play, or still trying to make it, that can't, like Crash. But then he's been there before. He just got dropped again. But he's also teaching. There's some guys that they keep on their team to mentor, to get them to that next level. He teaches him how to become better with his interviews, which they show later on that he can talk better. He learns how to throw a curveball. He learns how to get better and he teaches them in all different kinds of ways. Sometimes it's good, sometimes he lets the guy hit a home run off him by telling him what pitch is coming. That just shows what they show. And that stuff probably happens a lot.
Yeah. And Rocky, I mean, you and I both know, I've seen this, again, I've seen all these movies multiple times, but I've seen Rocky countless times. And yet this is a movie that it really grabs you. I can get emotional when that fight he has with Creed, he loses, but he still won because he did what he wanted to do. He went the distance with this guy. And at the end of it, his biggest thing is the girl that he's attached to, and finding her, and he's all beaten up. Yeah, but it's that common guy story. It's that common guy fantasy. Hey man, I want to go play in the major leagues, or I want to go play in the NFL. I want to be a boxer and have a chance to do all this. Is a guy on the back end of life, and the back end of boxing, and there's nothing left, and he gets this one opportunity. So it's classic. It's classic stuff. And they'll never go out of style.
Absolutely.
Those movies will always be popular.
Oh, definitely. I mean, my kids will probably see it. Nolan will probably watch these later on. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. But that's what I'm saying. But you also can't take those movies and remake them. You can't take a Hoosiers. You can't take a Bull Durham and try to remake them to be as good as those, because it's just too hard. They set the standard so high original, because even Rocky 2, like some people say Rocky 2 is better than Rocky 1, and I think my dad might even like 2 more than 1. I think he said, I mean, I could be wrong, he'll probably humble me on that later on, but even if, like, you don't get those, right? I can't see them coming out and saying, we're going to come out with the Hoosiers now, however many years later, and it's not going to be that. Maybe, they try. I get it. You try hard, but please don't try to remake a Rock. Don't try to remake a Hoosiers. Please just don't do it.
They remade, and you've seen them. They remade The Longest Yard, with Adam Sandler.
That was actually really good, though. No, that was great, though. That was actually really good.
But for me, I grew up with the original.
You did.
With Burt Reynolds and those guys, and so that one's still my favorite.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I because of probably my age and when I seen it, I still have to go. Yeah. I still have to go with the newer one over, and let me just put this aside. It's gotta be. It's an Adam Sandler thing. I'm sorry, but Adam Sandler's on the screen. I'm watching, whether it be a sports movie, whether it just be, it could be Happy Gilmore, it could be Longest Yard, it could be Grown Ups, it could be Billy Madison. I don't care what it is. I watch Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler's probably my most favorite actor of all time.
The Wonder Boy.
He's just amazing. He's amazing at what he does. You know what I mean? So I will watch anything that he does. If he's on the screen, I'm probably not changing the channel. So I'm going to put him a little bit above that last one. I just felt like there was a little bit more comedy too in the newer Longest Yard than it was in that old one and stuff. For sure.
And Michael Irvin. I mean, you had these football guys that were in there too. But folks, like Budman, this is a small sampling of sports movies. I mean, good grief. He and I respectively could have come up with probably 30 movies that we thoroughly enjoy as sports movies.
But see, that's the point. That's the point. And see, so let me see. So we had real quick, because you had obviously. So it was Hoosiers, Rocky, Bull Durham. No, Bad News Bears, Bull Durham. What was the first one that I mentioned? I already forgot the list. What did I say it was? How did I already forget who the first one was that I mentioned? That's how bad I am at this game. I had it right here. I had the list, and now all of a sudden it's gone. But either way,
it was.
What did I say? Oh, Remember the Titans. I'm sorry. There's my list.
That's right.
So we have Remember the Titans. So looking at your list, at your top 5, is that exactly how you would have put it, or where would you have switched any of these after?
Bears to 5,
and everybody
out.
up.
I would have the other two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So not bad.
So really, the only one that was sort of fell out of place for me of those that were offered was the Bad News Bears. I would just bump that to 5, and those would drop down.
Makes sense.
4 and 3 respectively.
Yeah. Okay. Well, makes sense. Well,
but for me, I mean, on a quick, if I like the movies, it'd be like a Brian song type thing. Hoosiers is always my number 1. That type of thing.
For sure.
There's so many good sports movies out there. It's just, it's insane. What was the movie, Bud, with Jamie Foxx as the QB, Lawrence Taylor?
Any Given Sunday. Any Given Sunday is
one of my all-time favorite movies.
True.
And that was a more recent one. A lot of my movies go back with this, but there's so many movies that Anthony and I could have picked from his dad, too. I mean, you can go probably 30, 40 deep on these things. But Hoosiers will probably always be at the very top of my list with that regard.
But you guys like how I got him with that Bad News Bears trick. See, that's the whole point of the game. That's the whole point of the game. So let us know, though, folks, in the chat, after you watch this, where you rank those movies that we mentioned too. Even throw out some of the movies that you've seen, some of your favorite ones. Who's your top list of sports movies of all time, for sure. Next week, it's on Mike. Mike's going to come up with the list for me that I have to blindly do the 5 for. And this doesn't have to be sports, guys. We did sports today. Him and I have already come up with the thing. It can be anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be sports related. If he wants to give me top 5, if he wants to give me 5, if he wants to give me cars, if he wants to give me foods, if he goes anything outside of here, it's going to be something totally different each week. So let us know what you guys think. This is our first time doing it. We're going to do it again next week. Even give us some suggestions of what we can do too. We will take suggestions of stuff that we can also do. We'll look into that. But once again, guys, it is great to be back here. We're kind of pushing here too on this 2-hour mark, so we're gonna get going here. But love to be back with you guys. Amazing time again tonight. I think we kind of touched everything that we'd like to touch on. Said our piece about it. Let us know how you guys feel about what we said. If you're angry about anything we said, if you agree that we're spot on about some of this stuff. But for our main thing is we're just happy to be back here with you guys. We're gonna be back every Saturday, 6:30 again. We're gonna try to keep that going for you guys, rolling. Like I said, things happen, guys. Things come up with us each time, and it's a little bit crazy, but we still want to come back. We enjoy doing what we're doing. We got a brand new thing going on here. So I'm hoping you guys can sit back and enjoy and watch this with us and enjoy the journey that we're going to start heading out on, because I think this is going to be a fun ride for us.
Yeah, and much just to touch on what Anthony said, folks. Again, it's exciting for us. Just a reboot, if you will, coming in with a new backdrop, different graphics, everything. Just a slightly different approach, but it's just like a franchise. You change things up a little bit, drop a new logo. Sometimes you relocate to a different city, but the format's the same. It's all about sports and having fun with that and just talking about it. And again, but as Bud said, your input, your thoughts. Do you like the backdrops? Are they good? The colors, are they good? A little bit of that purple theme. I know Prince would be proud if he's probably watching this and he's thinking, "Man, I love the purple." But yeah, we are. We're just glad to be back. Looking forward to spending some time with you. But always input,
I don't
ideas.
want
Let us know.
DMCA.
Always glad to hear about that. So other than that, as I always like to say, and that will never change with each episode you see, what you see, what you hear is absolutely impossible, if not for this gentleman to my right or my left, however your view is, without Mr. Anthony Alvarez. This does not happen. It's his genius, it's his creativity that puts what you see in front of you. So a big applause to him, and my personal thanks each and every week to Mr. Anthony Alvarez for what he does.
No, I appreciate it, Mike. You do just as much here as I do. I'm really trying to focus more on trying to get this better look for you guys. I know you guys, you take the time to sit here, watch us, listen to us, whatever it may be. So I'm going to try to do the best I can to make this a better program for you guys, something better that you guys can enjoy, you can watch, sit back, listen to. But we're going to get into this for sure. We're going to get into a lot more. We're going to talk about a lot more. We're going to have a lot more debates. I feel like, you guys didn't get a lot more debates from us, where we got a lot more in today that, Mike and I weren't on the same page on for certain things. And that's going to be okay, guys. There's nothing wrong with debating. There's nothing wrong with not having the same, having the same opinion as the same person that you talk to every single day. You can have different opinions. You can think differently about certain stuff. It's okay, guys. That's the whole point of these podcasts. That's the whole point of just having fun on a debate. You have to have fun with it. You can't turn it into, anger and getting in all this craziness all the time,
And we're trying to manage our anger.
We're trying to.
That's the whole point.
We're trying to. But once again, folks, thank you very much for being here with us. I appreciate it. We will be, like I said, every Saturday night, 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. Don't forget to tune in. But also, please, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit that bell to get those notifications.
Please.
Like you said, it helps us more than you guys think when you hit that like button. So once again, thank you, folks, for being here with us. Hopefully you guys like everything, like Mike says, with all the new stuff that we got going on. This is just the beginning, folks. This is just episode 1. So
and this is really important to me, because if I'm not here, I'm in county, and we know being in county is not a good thing.
Exactly. So strap on the seatbelts and let's get going on this next ride that we got going on here. But once again, like I said, thank you, folks. Hope to see you guys next week. Leave us any notes in the chats that you have from us. But have a great night, have a great weekend, and stay safe out there, folks.
Have a good night, folks.